Have you ever experienced that feeling where your days off from work or most likely your off days? I don't know. I don't know if anybody else does, but for me, that's a lot of the case. And I think a lot of that has to do with structure. When I'm at work, I have time allotted to do certain things, but when I have a day off, it's really just kind of whatever I feel like doing at my whim. And you know, I'll go to the gym every once in a while, or I'll do some housework. Um, but it's not really structured in any type of way. So it's very unpredictable. And a lot of times that lends me to not really getting a lot done and still feel like I have a lot to do. But my goal is to change that. I just left the doctor. I had a doctor's appointment today. Today is a day off. I worked the last 3 days, two of them for straight time, one day for overtime. And then I work this coming weekend. Um, so these are my 2 days off. What am I going to do with them? And I think that's a good, I got to start asking that question more because, like I said, when I have a day off, I just kind of do whatever I want to do. Um, and some of that has to do with communication. I know what expectations me and my wife have for one another as far as what needs to get done. Um, Usually, all she asks from me is, make sure the kids are picked up from school, make sure at least one load of laundry is done, and just anything that I feel like is helpful. So I know that now that my doctor's appointment's gone, my doctor's appointment was right in the middle of my free time that I don't have any kids. I have to pick my preschooler up in the middle of the day. Um, so I know that my free time is lost, but what am I going to do now that I have my preschooler? I can't go to the gym. I mean, I could. They have childcare, but I don't like doing that. That's one extra thing that I'm constantly going to be thinking about. And when I'm at the gym, like I said last video, I just want to focus on what I have to get done. And so I'm going to go home. I'm going to do a load of laundry. I'm probably going to put some dishes up and just straighten up the house a little bit. So when my wife gets off work at 5 o'clock, like she doesn't have to think about that stuff. That's going to be a future video, I think. Uh, but what expectations do I have for myself? I just left the doctor. So back to the original story. I just left the doctor. It was a wellness doctor, like a functional medicine chiropractor. Shout out to Dr. Honchel. Um, and I have some food allergies, and I've got to try to eliminate some of this stuff out of my diet. Tomatoes, that was one of them. Like, I'm not going to be able to eat tomatoes just because I have a reaction to it, a negative reaction to it in my body. And I'm having to find out what diets work and what doesn't. And trying to change my entire diet and how I eat is going to be tough. But I have to commit to it. It's something else that I have to commit to. So part of that is structure. How am I going to food prep? How am I going to build my diet so it works for me and it gives me more energy and I have more energy for my kids, so I'm not just like tired and just kind of scrolling through my phone. Uh, I want to be more high energy. I want to be more present with my kids. I want to be more available for my wife and keeping energy just high. So that's going to have to come with a calendar. The supplements that I've been given to help kind of cleanse my body, they're very structured. I'm going to have to really nail down structure and doing things a particular way and finding routines that work on day shift and night shift. I'm a swing shift worker. That's the whole point of this channel, is just to try to help blue collar Christians figure out how they can steward themselves and their gifts and their blessings the best possible way. And so with altering schedules, you have to alter your routines and how you do things. But that actually comes with trying to build a routine that works for both shifts. And it's not going to be easy. Train's coming. Always a train here. But I have to get more serious about what I'm doing. And so one of the ways I plan on doing that is revamping the bullet journal. I think bullet journaling is very good. I think it's very helpful. It helps kind of hold yourself gosh, why do I have the hiccups every time I make a video? Um, I have to have something where I write down and check boxes every day. Check marks are signs of success. Your successes aren't in the big things. Like, you're not going to see immediate success in the big things like losing weight overnight. You're going to see that 5 years from now. Like, you're going to look back and be like, oh, I look better, I feel better. And so you have to start with small check boxes. Doing one thing is greater than zero. That's been the motto, is just finding something to say, I can check that box. So physically, I need to check that box. Mentally, I need to check that box. Spiritually, especially spiritually, check that box. And if you want some tips on that, you can go over and check out my friend Chris Jones. He makes a ton of videos about spiritual box checking. He doesn't say box checking. I'm going to call it box checking. And I know that sometimes, checking the box can come off as a negative thing. But sometimes you have to check a box to show that, oh, I've made progress. So don't look at that as like a legalistic thing, because obedience isn't legalistic. It's spiritual. It's a good thing. So don't be afraid to check a box if it helps you. Because for me, checking boxes helps. And I want to be able to check a box and say, I've actually made some sort of progress in an effort. And a little check box on the smallest thing is very big. I want to be able to list my supplements, when I'm supposed to take them, check the box. I want to be able to go to the gym, check the box. Even if I just read one Bible verse, that's structure, that's routine, that's memorizing that verse. And if you just said, I can't do a reading plan because 4 chapters seems like a lot, man, if you're just starting out, just pick one verse and memorize it for a week. I don't care if it's Jesus wept. I mean, you can obviously memorize that, but you can also meditate on that as you're memorizing it. Jesus wept. Who was Jesus? Why is the person of Jesus so important? Why is him weeping so important? What side of Jesus does that really show? And how does that translate to me as a human, as a follower of Christ? You have to check a box. You have to build structure. So checking the box starts with building a structure. And the question that you have to answer is, on my days off, when I have free time or when I don't have any structure because I'm not at work, how are you structuring your off days so that you can have more free time to do things you want to do? And one practical tip for that is, if you do the things you have to do, you don't think about them anymore. You think about it once, you do it. So the second that it pops in your mind, you just get it done and it's over with. So like when I pick up my preschooler, I'm going to go home. I'm going to do the things that I know I have to do a load of laundry, do the dishes, make sure my daughter's fed for lunch. I'm building structure. I'm checking a box. I think about it once and I don't have to think about it ever again, for that day at least. So how are you structuring your days off in order to make your days off like true days off? Once you get the obligations, I don't like saying obligations. Once you get your responsibilities done, like the things that you have to do, once you do that, you can check the box and say, I don't have to think about this anymore. I'm freed from this, some people might say, the burden of a responsibility. I'm free to check it off, relax, and know that I've done everything I need to do. Now I can focus on the things I get to do. And man, that's the freedom of structure. Jocko Willink, he talks a ton about discipline equals freedom. If you discipline yourself to do the things you have to do, you're free to not only do the things you get to do, but you already know what has to be done, and it becomes who you are. It becomes part of your identity. So what are you doing on your days off in order to ensure that your days off are good, that you're not thinking about all the things you have to get done? Stress is automatically out the window once you get those things done. The anxiety of having to do so many things is out of the way. And then you get to free yourself up to do the things that you want to do. I love golf. I'm a big golfer. In my off time, I love to play golf. So if I get all the stuff I need to get done, I'm not leaving any responsibilities to my wife. I'm not leaving any extra things I have to get done to rush around at the end of my day to get done. It's done. It's over with because I've built structure. Because I've built routine. So find ways to utilize your days off that work for you, but also work for everybody else. When it comes to stewarding our blessings, man, our marriage is a blessing. How are we stewarding our marriage in a way that says, this practically helps my wife? This takes less off of my wife's plate, and she don't have to think about it. So then she's not going to be upset, and then she's not going to have negative feelings to me. So think of ways that you can steward everything well, so that in a way that is freeing to you as well. And that starts with structure, building a routine, building things you have to get done so they get done. So that's what you have to ask yourself. What can I do to get things done so that I'm completely free? I think I just spit. I'm sorry. What are you doing to free yourself up to do the things you want to do so that you can enjoy your days off? I hope that's helpful. I hope that's a good question. And seriously, pray about these things. Ask the Lord, I don't feel like doing things. Help me to neglect how I feel, and help me to just do what needs to be done, so that way my feelings are out of the way and I can solely focus on what has to get done so that I can feel free later. I hope that's helpful. Steward your days off. Use your structure, whatever method, checklists, block calendar, whatever, and just prioritize your day in a way that makes it work for you. And as always, pray for me. The Lord knows I need it. We'll see you next time.